Is everyone happy after some technical difficulties?
Speaking of technical difficulties, the controller's not working again. So I finally figured out how to upgrade this game from version 1.0 to version 1.3. And the only changes I've noticed, yeah, Night Owl just did make a mistake subscribing, is it added the Connect to PlayStation Network as an option in that little bar up there, which does not work. I've tried it. And it added transferring, which is, I don't know.
Wow. Wow. That looks like something you would see in a really, and I mean truly bad sort of like pop up on an air flight disaster. Like you see misspellings in the heads up display and you know that the plane isn't safe.
Yeah.
Transferring. We are transferring.
Have you ever considered transferring from Vita to PlayStation 3?
Transferring Sarasheva. Buca de Beppa. I don't see it.
So we are in Zalzioria West because the transliterations are awful. And it would have been better if they just put the Cyrillic.
It would have been a lot better if they said Russia didn't have a rainforest.
Well, yes.
Transformers, robots in counterfeit boxes.
Oh man, that works way too well.
Transformers, robots in disguise. What was that?
That was me pulling up the Twitch chat on my phone.
Wow. Twitch chat on your phone? I was like, what the fuck? Do you have a TV in your room?
Nope. That was the insanely loud ad that has to play. Again,
I don't understand.
The height of professionalism. I have two screens, but I'm watching WBPL76's chat on my phone so that it doesn't slow this game anymore.
I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed looking at two screens when I stream, and I frequently have to tell people that more than 500 people watching makes me nervous because I can't read it all. And people think I'm crazy. But I suspect the purpose of streaming live is to interact with people, right? Unless it's just like inviting people to spill their dialogue onto what is otherwise
Yeah,
a static performance. I mean, the idea is to reflect off people and, use that energy for live and
I
stuff.
I guess I never noticed that that one in his gut goes through a magazine pouch.
Makes
How?
you wonder how he gets at it.
Well, it
Do you
makes me
think he
wonder
just
how
pulls?
fast that bolt was going.
Well, I mean, if it's out of a hand crossbow, those little fuckers can get 150, 200 pounds a square inch, probably, huh?
Marine Force is on fire. That was a Euro motorcycle. They do that. Don't worry. All right, I have to feed Eva, I think. Oh, these are all expired.
I
No,
think Eva
don't.
needs to eat them. Just feed them to Eva.
And
Catch also likes the rations. You could feed them to Catch.
you could. Good.
Look at Eva.
That's a pretty like big bloody hole.
I was going to say, if you have an exit or entry wound that presents at like what, more than 2 inches, I think it's called straight to the hospital. I think if you have a
Yeah.
perforation of the abdomen or thoracic cavity that is big enough for you to put your forearm through, you should probably doctor the time
Yeah.
sometimes, maybe.
What are you
Uh,
doing? Get up. Oh,
what is she
Jesus.
doing? Is she doing what like cats do, where she just kind of adjusts every so often and
Well, she's off screen. There's a foot. There we go.
all right, okay, like it just no,
Oh, she's
ma'am.
posing like one of your French girls. Ah, wonderful.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that is it's like, ma'am, please, you have a serious
Yeah, you
wound,
gotta.
ma'am, please. Like I understand your desire to look vogue, but it like you have a serious abdomen wound. Stop doing blue steel. Please.
Well,
Please.
I was just wondering if that would have gone through her pelvis, but I don't think it would have. I can't tell though because she keeps doing Vogue. All right, time to prepare for sneaking. This is a sneaking mission, Snake.
Oh, it's a sneaking mission.
Yeah.
Can I say this as a gun guy that I own zero suppressors because I've said, quote, what's the point, end quote? I'm already half deaf. I don't need them anymore.
Yeah, that
It's
train has
like
passed.
suppressors are a young man's game.
Do 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 do.
I ever tell you about the time I shot a Obraz without ear protection?
Yes.
I can hear it. I can still hear it. I swear to God, at night I can still hear that hammer fall. I
Huh?
swear I can hear the bolt slip and the ringing start, but I've never heard the shot. I just saw over the course of shooting it 5 times, everything get quieter.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I was like, wow, that gun's pretty good. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. But I can
Anybody hear
feel it
that
in my.
phone ringing?
Not only that, it's like, why are my teeth shaking? Turns out 7.62 by 54R is not designed to go through like a 6-inch barrel.
Sneaky, sneaky. She lost me. I'm firing.
I'm going to say this 5.56 out of that barrel length makes more noise than damage. It will make
Yeah.
more noise than damage because 5.56 is designed to go through a 20-inch barrel to burn off most of its powder and become stabilized. That's why Eugene Stoner made the M16 and the AR-15 and the AR-10 20-inch barrels with various twists for various, what have you. But that is the genesis, and that is where that barrel is at its best. And then every bit you chop off makes it weirder and weirder. However, what's really interesting is at 11.5 inches or at 10 3/4, I believe, you have that perfect sine wave where everything's not moving again, and it's hyper accurate for no reason.
Yeah,
And then if
which
you,
is why
yeah,
Colt puts their stuff there when they do short barrels.
Right. But if you move it a few inches forward or aft, it is not as good. And when you make it that short, I cannot think of an AR-15 gas system that likes that short for very long. And I think that you would have a lot of problems very quickly.
Nope, cutscene. I'm setting down.
Set
Walk
down
it
the
off,
controller.
Eva. I'm still wearing 3 darts, and one of them's in my brain.
Well, let's do some facts since we're pausing and waiting for a cutscene. I've got a good text fact if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
I can remember every ship struck by a missile since 1980, and I can talk about them from memory and how they were lost. But I still have to go through my knuckles to figure out which month has more days. I still have to do that. Like I'm like January, February, March, going between the things on my Or
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
ask
yeah.
me what letter things are in the alphabet, I will still sing the song. I can't help it.
Yeah. You know, most people still sing the song. Certainly, most people on DUI investigations sing the song, especially
I've
when you
had to
tell them not to.
I've had to walk the DUI walk about 5 times. And every single time they pulled me over, I did the whole thing. And then the guy made me blow anyways, and it blew 000.
Uh huh.
And then I go, "Why did you even pull me over?" And he's like, "Had a feeling." So that means I must look very depressed to be permanently drunk or something. You know what
I
I mean? Like they're
guess.
just like, "That guy." I was like, "Was I riding the center line? Was I doing any of the things?" And they're like, "No, you just look distracted." And I was like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
yeah, I remember one time he made me do the thing, and he made me stand on a foot for about 90 seconds. And then I put the foot down, and he goes, "I didn't tell you to put the foot down, do it over."
All right.
And I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, "Okay." And so I did it again. He's like, "Okay, you may now leave." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "What a fun guy." See, I think I have a better idea for a DUI. I have a better idea for a DUI test.
Yeah.
All you have to do is ask someone what they thought about the last election. And if you get more than 30 seconds of opinion, take them in. Just that's all you have to do. Just wait for someone to just start talking, and you're just like, "Yeah, you seem really into dumb stuff. You'd probably drink and drive." That or very simple test like all you have to do is like shave and a haircut, and if they sing 2 bits or clap their hands twice, probably suspect. I think you could add that to the DUI thing.
So,
shave,
funny
shave
thing
and a
there
haircut.
is there's a standardized field sobriety test, which is the ones that have been tested and are shown to be accurate within a certain percentage, right?
Well, yeah, like can you stand straight up? Are your eyes the size of saucers? Can you track a light? All reasonable. Yeah.
Well, so it's the HGN VGN, which Kansas does not recognize as valid, even though all the testing shows that it's the most accurate. They just
Yeah.
Kansas Supreme Court was like, I don't know, that seems like voodoo magic. We won't allow it.
Oh. So
In like
you
the
just
80s.
make them.
And
Oh.
since then, the first person to mention VGN in a court case loses. Because it's a mistrial. Because the Supreme Court says it's no bueno.
So I guess we have to figure out another method then, huh?
Yeah, so there's that. Oh, hey, we're back to caution mode. It's strange. It's like they stopped wanting to fuck with me after the 1,000th dead guard.
It seems like if you use a machine gun for 5 minutes straight, anybody who walks into it will get the message that it's this area belongs to machine gun.
Oh man, look at all that buckshot in my groin.
You have an uncomfortable amount of buckshot near your junk. And I'm going to say this. If someone shoots you in the junk with a 12 gauge, I think you probably earned it. You know what I mean? Like if somebody shoots you in the junk with a 12 gauge, there's no like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. You were close to them,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
close enough to use a 12 gauge, and they aimed at your junk, which means you're fighting the bad guy from RoboCop, or you're in trouble.
Or the good guy from RoboCop.
Yeah, I would say.
Wait, did she get shot?
How would you know?
There's
She's
there's a way to switch to her, but clearly she didn't because. Uh, oh, I'm not close enough. That's what it is.
just feed her some snakes. Snake Eater. It's the name of the show. Just feed her some snakes.
No, she didn't get shot. Okay, I can fix that.
Oh, that's right. RoboCop only shot people in the junk with 9mm. That's different.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
not. That's non-lethal.
New Vegas is the entire storyline is that 9mm doesn't have stopping power.
Yeah, the whole story of Fallout New Vegas is predicated on the fact that 9mm is an insufficient cartridge because he shot him in the head with a 9mm at point blank range. Then he got up.
Yeah, and then he got up and was angry.
Yeah, 9mm is just enough to make the post-apocalyptic mailman angry. That is the thesis of Fallout New Vegas.
Yep. Benny should have been
Yep.
rocking that Chinese Mauser.
Benny should have been using that 45. Benny Benny would have killed the soul. It would have just been a clip. It would not have been a game.
You hear the guitar riff, you see the cutscene, and then it's the end, and Ron Perlman narrates.
And
War
Ron
never
Perlman
changes.
says, "War never changes, but the 1911 gets things done. For Americans by Americans." And then it just shows the 1911. And like Ron Perlman's holding it in the booth. And they're like, "Sir, please don't have a gun in the booth." And he's like, "I'm Ron fucking Perlman." And then it ends.
Out of curiosity, what's the barrel life of a firing port weapon?
No.
I don't think they ever tested them to end of barrel life.
Here's how that shit works. If you use it and it starts shooting more sparks than bullets, then they will take the barrel out and put a new one in. And then they will probably not look at it again. Uh-oh, she's using that single action army because that's insane.
She's got her Mauser.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I thought she was using the wrong antiquated firearm.
No.
Just what I want in a gunfight is something that's complex that has no replacement parts that must all be hand fit to work. That's a great gun, I tell you. That's a great gun to take into a war zone. Excuse me, could I have a bicycle? But specifically, I want a bicycle that can take no parts from any other bicycle in the world.
I am relatively certain I shot her. But it didn't
It's
count.
fine.
That's fine.
It didn't count. It's 5.56.
Yeah. Coming out of the barrel backwards. Don't forget that part.
I've seen some real bad crowning jobs before that have produced a number of interesting strikes. The best one I ever saw though, and I'm not sure if this was just a majestic shit post or what was, but it was that K post where the guy was like, "Oh, taking it out to 50 meters today with a scope, trying to see what this M14 can do," and it's nothing but keyholes. Like you see the whole symmetry of the cartridge.
Yes.
Like it is like near perfect sideways impact on the target at 50 meters. Like, and it's one of those things where people who know a little bit about ballistic start laughing and going, "Oh my God, look at all those keyholes. That's catastrophic." And then there's people like me who've built guns who are screaming, "How did this happen?"
Yeah, how does one accomplish that?
I think I did a little bit of looking at it, and I could only think of one thing, which is if you had such a catastrophic misalignment of the muzzle brake and the barrel crown through just really bad work and fitting or whatever bubbaing,
Yeah.
you would end up with something that struck the crown on the way out, because you would have, or sorry, not struck the crown. It would imperfect lift off the crown, because if it wasn't sunk just enough, you would have this really kind of off angle gas thing, gas bubble essentially. And it would push it out of the barrel. And right before it hits that muzzle brake, it's slightly misaligned. So it would just be kind of like nose in or tip as it went past. And then catastrophic. But even then, it looked like every round did it.
Yeah, I any circular holes on that piece of paper, I firmly believe were rounds that went through backwards.
That was what was weird, is I'm wondering, because at first I was like, okay, there's no way this is all one gun. Because I've seen it like 600-700 yards where you're shooting and you'll have shit tip in like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't realize this, but like at 1,000 yards, 4570s coming in at over 20 degrees off angle. It's like artillery, especially in older cartridges. But someone's like, this is 5.56 and it's doing this at 50 meters. I'm like, holy shit. It's amazing.
All right, I need to go sneak some.
Yeah, I know. I mean, now I will say this, with a gun that short, you honestly wouldn't need a front sight. I don't think you would. I don't
No,
think it would have enough time to actually line up.
you're essentially using the entire carry handle as a gutter snipe sight at that
It's not a
point, I
bad
think.
idea though. It's not a bad idea. I mean, I wouldn't even put in all honesty, I would go to the front of the carry handle and I would drive in a winged sight a lot like the front sight of like the Finnish Mosins, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'd just probably even I would honestly probably put a blade in the center and then just hammer the wings out on the front and just be like, they're done. There, that's as much sight as you get. If you can line this up in the middle and pull the trigger, it will hit.
Oh,
I love that that guy was just standing there.
well, I was trying to figure out where I was hearing the what happened from.
What about those guys? Did you see that upper those guys made that was like 30 feet long for the AR?
No.
They made an upper that's like something like 20, 30 feet a barrel. Just they wanted to see what would happen, so they clipped it in, and naturally there is a point at which you do not get any further.
Yeah, in which the drag.
You
Yeah.
run out of juice. Yeah, you basically run out of juice behind the bullet, and the rifling and everything else starts to slow it down. And so yeah, but to a point, you would actually be able to squeeze every bit of pressure out of that cartridge. And if you got a light enough bullet through a long enough barrel, you could actually get probably another, I'd say maybe another 500-600 feet per second of acceleration out of it.
Yep, you're safe to come up, Eva, wherever you are.
She's out there dead in the jungle somewhere, cut in half
No,
by a
there
bunch
she
of
was.
5.56 rounds. Oh.
She decided to lay down, probably smart.
As Bionic Babe points out, she says, is she the only one that loves that Dep almost always aims for the dick? I've I've been I've been watching him put millions of rounds into people's cocks from the very beginning. And I'll say this, I don't think he's gonna change. I mean,
No,
MGS4, do you intend to shoot more dick? I think so.
it's not intentional. It really isn't. It's just the recoil on this is so absurd that I aim low so I can just stitch it up the body. But there
That's
comes a point where it's decided you've had max recoil and no amount of shooting on this burst will raise the muzzle anymore. And by then I'm still aiming low.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the issue: is that gun is not designed for being used at more than 20 meters. Okay.
No.
So there is an interesting ballistic quandary of you have a sight that is a few inches above the barrel axis, And
Mm-hmm.
at 20 meters, that's a problem. It's like the people who put a red dot co-witness sight on an MP5 and then they go in to shoot targets in a shoot house and they go, I'm hitting way off. And I'm like, right, that's a 4-power red dot on a 9 millimeter.
Dick Shot Deputy, a Knife Fight City story.
That's why no one fucks with the cops in Knife Fight City. They shoot you in the dick. And thank you on the mundanus. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. We'll have more soon. My team is working very hard. We've got a lot of stupid coming out, and we really appreciate that everyone liked it. It was my first time DMing after about 11 years of not DMing. And I had stopped DMing because a friend of mine had died who I played a lot of tabletop with, and I just couldn't do it because it was just too much trauma. And so for like a long time, I never touched tabletop. And then I decided to get back into it with the Magistrata Mundanus. That was my back to DMing game. And I'm very glad that everyone enjoyed it, even though obviously the guys took whatever plot I wrote and just set it on fire within like 12 seconds, which is great because I was just like every few feet, like, all right, well, we have to stop here because you killed everyone I was writing for. And now it's NPC number 4 or 5 that is left. And you guys are like, all right, what's all the business, Vista? And they're all like, they're all dead.
Well, I mean, it's okay. It's taken you guys 20 sessions in Traveler to deliver a letter.
I know. It's just wait until they hear our Traveler game when we get to the part about the bomb. Just the bomb. Because there's bombs and there's the bomb. That becomes one of our biggest debated things.
Yeah.
I'm also surprised you guys you guys actually encouraged me to play the character I did. And that was really, really nice. And I appreciate it because I had a weird idea for a character after we killed. Well, we didn't kill. We mangled my first character in Traveler, making him.
Yeah. Like, he
We mangled
survived
him.
character creation, but he probably would have been
He
better
ca-
off if he hadn't.
It was to the point where the first character we made in Traveler ended up like Captain Pike. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, cool. But imagine Captain Pike, but not a Star Trek captain. More Captain Pike like the janitor. It was very sad.
Yeah, it's safe. Come on.
As far as it goes with the mundanus, when you guys get to the Phone King and many other things, you'll realize the party has completely lost its mind. And by the time you guys get to the end game, there's going to be a lot of what, because I was also doing what.
Yeah.
Yeah, Point Man Frosty. The best part so far is when Dep goes shame. I love that you executed that guy in full view of like traffic and the general public. It was just like shame, and then this slow sword push into that guy. 40K law enforcement.
Like, this setting is just absolutely brutal. So you'd have to imagine that to effectively enforce any kind of order in that system, law enforcement must be equally so.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, when it comes down to this shit, and hey man, Nick and Jack, you are not a shitty role player. You are not a shitty role player. Every game you've been in, you've given your full energy. And everyone has been like, Nick and Jack brings everything. Like, I've never heard anyone say you were clumsy or bad at a game. I've heard everyone been like, he brings his energy. Like, that's what people need. You pay attention. You're a good player.
Yeah.
All you lack is experience. And that doesn't mean anything. That really doesn't mean anything. Because if you've read a book and you love a story, or you've played a video game and you love a story, or you've listened to a piece of music and you're moved by it, you know what makes role-playing work.
I thoroughly enjoyed having you in the game, Nick and Jack. when we did the Halloween special.
We need to bring that crew back.
You think that crew needs to work on more things?
I think that Delta Green crew could work very well because we had a lot of professionals, and then we had Zip Winchester.
Why is she naked now?
She just made herself comfortable.
I changed no settings. You guys have watched this.
No, it's just Eva. She's like, I'm a woman. And we're like, yeah, we're aware. And she's like, I'm pretty. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm aware. We're about to get murdered. And she's like, I'm going to pose now. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, please pick up a gun. Please pick up a gun made in this century. Pick up a gun made in this century, Eva. Pick up a gun made in this century by people who don't think that phrenology is real. Please pick up a gun made in this century. Eva, please, for the love of God, wear armor. Eva, wear a helmet. Like, that would be me every 5 minutes. I get you're a pretty girl, but we're in a war zone. They are trying to kill us. This isn't a time to look pretty. It's a time to kill people. Eva, please,
they're doing a half-ass good job.
Eva, I have an arrow in my brain. Eva, help me.
My favorite part is that it's behind his good eye.
This looks like mail fraud. And yet, Traveler coming out is going to be good. I play a terrible character. I think the most competent characters we have on board are Diggs's character and Jake's character. I think those are the most competent people on board.
The most sane.
Yeah,
everybody's
my character
competent, just in very specific niches.
Dude, I made a baby carrier for the bomb. Like, I am not a competent person. Like, I removed a mine from the ship by just removing the panel it was attached to and then pushing it gently away into space. Like, they're like, there's a mine attached. And I was like, no, I have a wrench.
That was rather clever, actually. Because there was a whole thing about, this is, you find out about this mine type, and no, you're like, I don't care. Just detach the panel. I can deal with space.
Space is lame. My character also wears a spacesuit all the time. And yes, I'm playing a plasma man from Space Station 13 because the rules allow that. It's quite fun.
Oh, yeah. We're getting cutscene slideshow jiggle physics, which I didn't know was a phrase I'd ever have to say.
It's the boss, isn't it? I'll go get the wig ready to take off.
Implying that thing is fueled.
Implying that thing works.
Implying it works. Because here's what happens with the wing and ground effect. You'd fire that off. It would take off. It would majestically soar. Yeah. And it would gently take off, and it would float an inch above the water as they drove around for a bit. And then that's it. They wouldn't be able to leave. They'd be like, wow, we can drive around the lake at 100 miles an hour. What a cool thing. I hate to say this, but if you get blasted by an airburst like that, it's going to remove a lot more than the occasional flower petal.
Isn't it beautiful?
And if that was a Davy Crockett, they would both not be able to be alive right now because the range of the Davy Crockett is about the size of the explosion of the Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but duck and cover does not help. And Yertle the turtle or Bert the turtle will not be helping you now. It's one of those things of in Duck and Cover, that cartoon, you see that little firecracker go off and it blows the monkey holding it and the tree he's standing in away, and the turtle is fine. Half of this equation is true, as in everyone would be smoke. The difference is Bert the turtle miraculously survives. Now, she just lit off a short-range nuke. It went off, and now she's lecturing you.
Yeah.
And all the flower
fallout.
petals.
She's holding actual fallout.
Yeah, she's holding all that. And I'd be like, you know what? Kojima has a really interesting idea of what nukes do. And I hate to say it, but nukes are not like airbrushing. They're not something that you can just stencil in and go, isn't that great? They're a whole other thing altogether. And they don't fit well on the same plate with a guy who won't fit in a tank that walks around with an M161 minigun. It doesn't fit well with that. Choose a theme, Kojima. One theme. Give me one theme, because I can identify several of his themes I think are beautiful and interesting. And then he just adds more stuff to it. Because you're like, hey, do you like chocolate chip cookies? And I'm like, yeah, I love chocolate chip cookies. And they start making chocolate chip cookies. And they're like, man, I got some good flour. And I'm putting that in there. And you're like, yeah, yeah. And they're like, I'm adding a little bit of vanilla. And I'm like, oh, good idea. And they're like, yeah, and I'm adding in some chocolate chips and some eggs. And you're like, yeah, yeah, good idea. And they're like, I'm adding an polystyrene packing peanuts. And you're like, whoa, Kojima, what the fuck? And he's like, and I'm going to add in nickels. So you always have bus change. And you're like, well, that doesn't help me. It's a cookie. And he's like, not anymore. It's Kojima Presents Cookies Stealth Action Adventure Espionage, TM. And you're like, none of those words go with what you're saying. Neither do they with Metal Gear Solid. And is this whole thing about her not being able to have kids, like, why would you bring that up? You just lit a fucking nuke off. Nobody's gonna have children. Nobody. You just lit a nuke off. You lit a nuke off. You would be seeing your skeleton. There is no way, oh, I won't have kids anymore. Really? Really? Does that allow you to just light nukes off? Oh, I'm depressed. That doesn't mean I can just light nukes off. Go to therapy, lady.
They just completely glossed over the part where she's like, do you think Russia and America will be enemies in the 21st century? Somehow I don't think so. Man, that aged like butter.
Yeah, and Nevada's name comes from snowclad. It's talking about the Sierra Nevada. Can you please get anything right, Kojima? Kojima, this literally happened. This is history. All you have to do is Wikipedia, enter, and it's all there. Kojima. Kojima. We have no tomorrow? So a person born in 1954 didn't live beyond 1954? Is Sputnik the answer? Did the Patriots want us to have a beep beep that goes around the planet? Is that...
I kind of wish I'd been around to hear the Sputnik beat. I'm not gonna lie.
I have a recording.
All right. I think I've heard a recording, but...
I have several recordings. So not only does he have to shit on nukes in the Cold War and espionage, but he also has to be like, you know all those Brave Mercury astronauts? Well, this lady was put in front of him. She was the real hero. And you're like, with what qualifications?
Yeah.
Using a rocket at night that no one saw.
I guess. Or they just said she was a monkey.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but no, they watched all the rocket launches. It's kind of hard to fake stuff going into space during a Cold War when everyone's worried about you sending stuff into space that might come down. Oh, I've been irradiated once. Boo-hoo, who hasn't? Get in line. So you're telling me not only did they send you up in a spacecraft, but it had a window?
She has the only qualifications that really matter. Boobs and a spooky ghost husband.
I was saying spooky ghost husband probably got her the job, because he was like, I will haunt you, and they're like, oh, that's fucking creepy.
I feel like I took edibles while watching a Cold War documentary. Yeah.
Here's the problem, is I've watched a lot of really good Cold War documentaries and a lot of just bad ones, and the bad ones don't have a voice actor that says nonsense. I mean, this is basically North Korean public TV. Like, this is what they play, is they'll show stock footage of stuff, and then they will have a lower third with dialogue that has nothing to do with it whatsoever other than very vague messages. I've watched a lot of propaganda. This is what it feels like.
Could you imagine what Whiplish the game would be if you had stock footage like this to work with instead of just photos? Like,
So
all right, I
here's
need you to come up with a briefing for the UN with these stock photos.
that would be hilarious. I'd love to do that as a game. And here's the problem is like her character is all over the place. It's like, does Kojima think that the federal government of the United States of America during the Cold War had like 5 people it entrusted everything to? Do you think that the same guys in Operation Ajax are the same guys at Bay of Pigs?
Okay,
Like he
so the boss is like the closest thing we have to a creator mouthpiece in this series because she's the paragon of wisdom that everybody else is trying to achieve her dream. She just said JFK was a pussy for not pushing the Cuban Missile Crisis and Bay of Pigs into a nuclear war. What the fuck?
Well, I know. It's just like nukes are bad, but they should have pushed Cuba instead of like burning them. And I'm like, right. But again, if you used like Wikipedia level history knowledge and looked around, you would have found that that was like an incredibly bad idea. And we actually came very close to a nuclear exchange. And so it was a lot of work of people behind the scenes to make that sure that didn't happen. And he demeans all of that by just being like this one super lady who went to space, comma, stole nukes, comma, had a ghost ex-boyfriend, went to another school. Don't ask questions. And then also did all of these other things like Cuban Missile Crisis and World War II, and I was pregnant on the beaches of Omaha. And I'm just sitting there going like, this reads like the worst DMPC in history.
Organizations involved in every aspect of every war. They have become war itself.
They have become war itself. Anyways, I just lit a nuke off 90 seconds ago before starting this lecture. I used a nuclear bazooka as casually as I might fart in a lobby. And now I'm going to lecture you on the dangers of war while showing the Russian-Finnish conflict.
Why do these two fight? They fight because Kojima said at one point that that's how he became Big Boss, was he fought the boss and beat her. So now he's got to figure out a way for white Dommy Mommy here to fight him.
I don't understand what... I'm the last remaining child of these people who held billions of dollars, but then thought the smartest thing to do with it was to put screws and tracks on an SRBM and then make it drive down a 10-mile runway. Oh no, the brain trust is loose with money. Like, that's the lot. Oh, yeah, see,
Yeah, here
Normandy.
it is,
So
yeah.
Normandy to space. There you go. That's called Operation Crossbow, and that's in fact not done on the ground. That was the Royal Air Force. Again, really good way to shit on actual people. Thank you, Kojima. I love that he's like, these people sacrificed a lot to wipe out these V2 sites and everything and make sure that people weren't nuking, civilian sites. And it's like, no, this one lady did it. And I'm like, that's kind of shitty. As far as inserts go, no, it's not. The fact that you're neglectful proves that you were a mother. Now, the fact that you have a giant scar proves that you have a shitty, shitty surgeon. There is no such thing as a C-section scar that goes above your fucking nipples. I'm sorry, but whoever cut you open has never seen a medical textbook. Did the Cobra Unit not have a medic?
Whoever cut her open had never seen a naked woman. Jesus Christ.
Like, was he looking while he did it?
Started at the clavicle. He's like, yeah, I've
Like,
left the deer before. I'll take the baby
I've
out.
seen people open corpses with more care. Usually with a corpse, it's a Y incision and it's clean. This is literally like somebody held the thing down and then just
Commence the operation.
like this is a character.
I'm glad those pilots speak English.
I love the fact that she has a radio that can reach them. I also love the fact that you can receive instructions from the ground from these pilots and they just accept it without asking for any clarification or weapons release authorization or anything. I love the fact that these pilots are trained to accept a phrase in English over open comms. I think that's fantastic. Again, 10 out of 10 Kojima. Great way to underline the absolute triumph of your writing is to not only undermine the basics of history, but undo what generations of strong female characters have in one blow, which is amazing. And then to try to lecture the players. That is just unbelievable. I love it. It's just
No, okay.
smug beyond smug.
I thought it was time. The medic was wobbly knife fire raccoon man. No one talks about him.
Let's make this the
Whoever cut her open used a pizza cutter and slipped.
You're a soldier.
Even then, a pizza cutter will make a straight line. I've seen it.
Loyalty.
That's what you get doing surgery in a landing craft.
Even then, it's just like, I think what would have happened is they're like, help, we have to get this lady's baby. And they're like, why is there a lady with a baby in a war zone? Like, that would be the medic's first thing is like, wait, she's fighting? What's going on? But I don't get it. Lady lights off a nuke, then lectures us about the war, and then tells us that JFK was a pussy for not like going hard in starting World War III.
Yeah.
And then starts lecturing us. This is Kojima's masterpiece. He sat in a room and was like, this is the message I want to convey. And then did it. She also calls you pathetic.
She does, among other things. Man, all of these particle effects make it really, really awful to do this fucking fight scene.
I know, man. This is the problem of running things, but at least you upgraded it to 1.3.
I was really hoping that would help.
It will not. So we're going to have a slideshow fight, and I'm going to say this much. It's going to be slow, and I'm not done shitting on Kojima.
It's going to be
because
slow. And I'm going to tell you guys that this time limit goes regardless of the actual game speed. It is time to real time. So I have effectively about 70 seconds to beat her. Because this is going to be at 12 frames a second.
It's going to be really fucked up. And so it'll be a fun time. I'm just going to continue to shit on poor writing. I'm not the best writer in the world. I will never win an award for writing. But I do know what is sad. When someone uses somebody as a mouthpiece and does it very poorly with very poor research. And it's the saddest thing in the world. Because I'm watching this play out in slow motion. And I'm like, I know Kojima thinks this is some of the finest writing ever put into an RPG, ever. And I'm like, right, but it's not an RPG. You're not playing a role. You're walking through a very evolved Telltale Games version of the of the Cold War, post-Korean War, pre-Vietnam, and it's very cartoony, but it is as much of a deviation from video games as the painting Nighthawks is from reality at a diner late at night. It's idealized and distant.
Yeah.
It is a simulacrum that sprung from one man's mind, following one man's rules. And that rule is, he is afraid of women.
Perpetually.
He is terrified of women. It's like he always has to have them as these alien, unknowable, or crazy creatures. And I'm like, what happened to you? I'm just saying, like, what happened to you, Kojima? Like, did somebody just turn him down or say something really mean to him once? And he was like, women are like this, you know? Like, good guess, Kojima, but if you actually talk to them, they're not. And in fact, like, this is just sad writing. I would have taken the boss's whole story. If I was Kojima, I would have taken the boss's whole story and put it through the Cobra Unit. Each of these people, like, The spaceman, I would have had been that first guy in space who got burned for it. That would
Yeah.
make sense, wouldn't it?
Like we thought space was cold. We didn't realize that there was nowhere for the heat that built up to go.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering is maybe like you could have the character that was the spaceman be the first guy in space who burned for it. You could have each of these characters being part of her backstory, and as by killing and talking with them or whatever, you discover they are all pieces of these forgotten unit. And you're like, wow. And then when you finally get to her, she helps you close the casket on the unit. You have to kill her. She says her final bit. But no, she has all the dialogue, and everyone else is just, why do you have a Hornet Man? BB gun! Like, that's it. That's the only explanation you get. And then she acts all serious as a character about everything that's going on in full detail. And I'm like, yeah, but I fought the Wasp Man. I fought the guy who screamed fear and then ate trash and died from it. And then he exploded.
That is my favorite way to beat him. I mean,
So I just go like, what? You bought a man who's so old he would die just naturally sitting there. and then you're going to lecture me. No. That is bad. Show don't tell, and definitely don't tell for 45 minutes at a time. I'm just saying.
God, this is awful.
And I'm not trying to say that like women don't belong in games or anything. There's a lot of very decent characters in writing, literature, games, everything of all sex. It doesn't matter. The problem is I hate lazy writing. I hate when people do it and people go, "Isn't this character great?" And I'm like, "No. It's weird."
Oh. Well, at least at 10 frames a second, I can tell that the rounds are ricocheting off of her.
Well, you know, that's the thing is as part of that stealth, you know, espionage action, Kojima
5
went
minutes
to
and I haven't touched her. This is going exceptionally well.
Don't worry. And look, I'm just telling you that, you know, when it comes down to Kojima, it's stealth, espionage, and action. This game doesn't have any of those things. But as far as it goes, now we're in the lecture and bulletproof Dommy Mommy stage of things, where she's just bulletproof. She's just wearing a metal suit, and her nipples deflect bullets because she showed you her snake scar, which, in her own words, this is the proof I was a mother.
Well, I think that was she's shooting my bullets out of the air with the Patriot. Is I think what's happening.
This is a fun time for all involved.
It is.
I love the disco music. I mean, it just sounds like the end of a porno. Which, after having a nuke go off in a very serious lecture about the end of the world, yeah, that seems about fitting. Again, scoring is very important. And I find that if you use scoring as a tool, you should always dedicate serious time to your themes and motifs. And I find that just porno disco music goes really well with Kung Fu Lady and, you know, shoulder launch nukes and very heavy-handed lectures on the flow of the Cold War from somebody who didn't study it. It's really fun.
Oh, and it takes me a gazillion miles to get her, a gazillion seconds to get up, because, you know, it's his mom, and he can't just stand that his mother figure put him in the dirt, I guess. This is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna...
So Yuri Orlov says, I'm wondering what is going on here. I played this on a few versions, and I never ran into this, even on the GameCube version.
So what this is this is the HD edition being emulated on a 1080 and a Ryzen 2700. The architecture of the PlayStation 3 was so unique that it is having distinct difficulties emulating this system. We're going to run into different but just as debilitating problems in Metal Gear Solid 4.
I'm just going to point this out. if
I
it's
gotta
me,
finish this series before, you know, the re-release happens.
oh my god. And I'm just gonna
So I
say
can be
this.
the
Everybody
first.
everybody is here. Everybody is here. And thank you, Night Owl. Jesus, Night Owl give 900 gift subs to the channel. Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Night Owl, like, don't you have like, I don't know. Do you have like a cheese budget? Please tell me you have other budgets, please. Please tell me you have other budgets. Like you have a cheese budget, right? Do you have like a desk fryer to fry things? Do you have like a list of fryables? Like fryables, you know? I mean, I dig this snake eater theme. I think it's solid. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wouldn't use
I
it
think
for the
this is-
final. Well, I wouldn't use it for a final fight. You know?
Well, I mean, this is supposed to be triumphant, like, right? You're beating her, but that's not happening because, well, this boss fight kind of sucks anyway, but it really sucks when we're fighting these issues.
Oh yeah. But I'm gonna say, yeah, the FPS is seriously painful. I'm definitely with you. However, I'm gonna say this: if you find the FPS painful, can I please say something? And that is, why are you okay with the rest of Kojima's nonsense, but the frame rate is okay as an issue? Because I'm just wondering, because if we're gonna talk about serious, enduring problems with a game, the port, perhaps, sure, I get you.
Bitch.
Yeah, I love that you can just stand over there and mag dump into this lady, into her snake tattoo. One more minute, by the way. This many oh, yep, nope, sorry. DMPC, can't stop her.
Bulletproof
She's a-
crotch.
Bulletproof crotches,
Okay,
weakness.
I got the timing down on countering her though, so now I can just chase her like a simp until she tries to beat me. So yeah, we're gonna die this time, but I got my strategy down for the next one.
Oh no, we're not gonna win this one. We're gonna all get nuked.
Yeah,
But
no.
here's it's one of those things. Okay, so Yuri Orlov says, because Kojima, while being a mad genius, is still a genius, and the overarching story of 1 to 4 is good. So the lady who went to space first, comma,
Oh,
was on D-Day, comma, thinks JFK's a pussy for not pushing the Cold War hot, comma, fires off nukes like candy, comma, lectures people on the dangers of the military-industrial complex, comma, supports them. I don't think that's genius. I just think that's a bunch of ideas, and that any copy editor would have deleted most of them and said, choose 2. Now, gameplay-wise, whatever, we love the memes, we love the characters, it's all silly, but I just have to laugh at this. I love Metal Gear Solid 3, but I can't take it seriously. It's like a Bond movie on acid.
man, those guys are super low to be dropping those. I guess they didn't expect to survive either. Huh, Snake is dead.
Snake, what happened?
Well,
I do
and
appreciate
here's-
that my frame rate goes up to 600 FPS when
Yeah, well,
it's not
it's-
trying to render all these flowers.
That's fair. I mean, all those flowers are necessary. And as far as it goes, I'm kvetching because I just feel bad. I'll complain about anything. I complain about Deputy's tippy truck all the time because the Bandit is shit and you need to get rid of it.
No, it's the best truck.
It is the worst truck. It is worse than a Canadian logging truck. The Canadian logging truck is a more off-road vehicle than that terrible tippy truck
No,
you
I
love
need you.
so much.
Don't kick the air. Jesus fucking Christ. Face the woman.
And can MiG-21s carry nukes? MiG-21s can carry anything that fits on a MiG-21.
Yeah,
And best
Nope.
truck is service truck.
I fucked that one up. All right.
Tippy truck. If I see tippy truck, I know it's going to be a long night. Because if I see Tiffy Truck, you'll be like, all right, it's just over here, no big deal. And then I just watch it go like a slinky down the stairs.
God damn it, Snake, get up!
Snake is sleepy. His mom told him that he has to go to bed now. Oh, we've seen Failsafe. I've also big fan of Doctor Strangelove, but why I like Kubrick is fairly simple. Every scene looks like a painting. Some people don't like Kubrick movies, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, even if you don't like a Kubrick movie, if you put one on and don't even put the soundtrack on, just put it on, people will sit down and watch it just because it's pretty. That's nice. I find what was it? Wes Anderson, same thing. A lot of pretty film.
Yeah.
Oh, a good callback, Deb. Have you tried the squat shoot method?
I've not. I don't think the book is going to trick her. Let's throw some rotten food at her. Fuck it.
You just throw some food out there, throw that book. No, I like Wes Anderson films. They're very pretty.
They are. I wonder if I can hanky her.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But I figure this will work. Okay, now you need to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, use the book to drop some knowledge on her.
It's a porn novel. Like one of the Japanese, like the one where Tintin is an anthropomorphic dog, and where Tintin's dog had a mistress is, I think, the one that Tom Clancy hated so much that it existed that he put it in a fucking one of his novels.
Wow. I love how Tom Clancy was like an insurance salesman that everyone invited to speak to the CIA and NSA. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And people are like, isn't this guy great? And I'm like, I've read about 20 Tom Clancy novels. I've read them all on planes or in airports. I've never sat at home and been like, ooh, and then turned the page. I was like, it's a book. I don't get it. And I'm just rambling. Don't worry. Yuri Orlov says it's real sad that she is an easier trank fight versus trying to kill her.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get there eventually.
Well, it's weird. I just think it's weird because I know a lot of people who fucking love Tom Clancy novels, and they've read every single one, including the ones that were like Tom Clancy branded. They continued after his death. And they've read all of them, and I guess that's their thing. You know, some people like playing the lottery. Some people like, fast cars. Some people like Tom Clancy.
Man,
Tom Clancy and
this timing is awful to try and get.
Oh, I imagine.
You're not the man I thought.
So she just says you're not the...
She countered my counter.
Well, yeah, she's the DMPC deputy.
I actually managed it, and she's like, oh, nope, that's it.
Well, no, she's the DMPC deputy. The Patriots, you see, get a +1 to their initiative rolls.
I can't move until she says that line.
I remember there was the
damn it.
Oof. Yeah, Clive Cussler books are kind of the same thing. It's always like there's some guy named like Dirk Humongous or something, and he has a lot of money, and he has a private boat, and he has all this research, and he's really well respected, and then he goes around and fights these very like two-dimensional bad guys, and then he like gets away with the money and shit in the end. And I'm like, that's a cool book, but I can't read 30 of them.
I Diablo fingered so hard trying to get back up. That
Diablo Finger. Okay, that's a good point. I don't like games that Diablo Finger doesn't work in, and in this game it don't.
Please stop shooting me and let me punch you. There we go, guys. It took 5 actual real-life minutes to hit her twice.
Wow. Now, if you want to see crazy in terms of like pulp that's hilarious, if you ever want to read something that is just absolutely hilarious pulp, there is a book series called The Executioner, which has been in print since 1969 to now. And it's the Mac Bolan universe. And it is basically endless, crazy nonsense. They're all by this guy named Don Pendleton. And I'm sitting here looking at all the published ones. The late okay, there are 464 novels in this series, in the main series, and then 178 in the other.
Good for him.
Now, I know Clancy was prolific, but he was no Don Pendleton when it came to prolific.
Yeah, the Snake Eater scene to this slideshow, it's surreal. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, is I've done this once before. And I even beat her so that I could get the Patriot for this run through to make it that little bit easier to get to this point. Because it truly
what's
is
failing now?
miserable.
Oh, it is, especially in slow, but it looks like that's not going to work. So what was your strategy last time, Deputy?
This.
You know, I'm just going to say this. If you shoot someone in the neck with a tranquilizer, they should be asleep. There is no such thing. There is no such thing whatsoever as a tranquilizer to the neck that is not effective. It is either lethal or effective. There's no, I was shot with ketamine and then I walked around a bit. It was, I was shot with ketamine and I woke up in the future like Rip Van Winkle.
In the neck, yeah. I did have somebody on bath salts that shrugged off 2 ketamine. Well, no, that was Haldol with a chaser, 5 milligrams each time, and then ketamine was the third. And they still managed to bite one of my deputies.
Well, bath salts are fucking crazy, sir.
And that all didn't kick in until they were in the ER, and then they nearly had a heart attack.
Well, that's the thing, man. Bath salts are crazy. That's the eat people drug.
Yeah.
Like, you read reports of somebody tearing someone's face off and eating it. And I'm like, yeah, it's bath salts. And they're like, well, better go buy some more off Alibaba. Like, I'm like, no.
She tried to eat me as well.
I mean, she shoots I'm just saying this. She shoots a lot of bullets into the ground every time she tries to kill you.
Well, I honestly think she's just shooting around me to prove that she's, got me bested.
And that's fine. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, she kung fu'd you into the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh, the people on the radio.
That's
the people on the radio.
interesting audio effect.
It is. It is an interesting audio effect.
She did not manage it. She did not manage to bite me. She bit somebody else. And I warned him. I warned him. I told him, watch out, she's bitey. And he did not watch out. I think I fucked that one. Yep.
What's funny is in the other window, as I'm seeing my boys roll out, we're near the end of the timeline for the Charger. So that will be really soon.
Good.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well on that. So I hope you guys are ready. After this stream, in fact, I will be scoring it. No, I'm just sitting here looking at all of the weapons that are given to you, and I think it's hilarious that Kojima's way of solving a boss fight is either to make it gimmicky, like you got to do kung fu because they're, like nipples or like bullet deflecting.
Yeah, so he gives me a fucking RPG-7 and it takes off the tiniest sliver of health. Because he
Well,
didn't
it's
want
because
you fucking with the box fights by saving all your really powerful stuff.
I'm just gonna say that it's one of those things where that's that Kojima mastery. You know what I mean? It's about telling the player what's important, not letting them discover it.
I can't believe that worked. I hit her with the cigar spray and it worked.
Please, please, please kill the lady. She's going to kill you with a hammer.
I'm trying. Dear God, I'm fucking trying, man.
The power of her exposition protects her. I get it. Yeah. So, yeah, kill her with secondhand smoke. No, she's cancer proof. As you found out when she went to space, she's all right. I love that this looks like some sort of really crazy interpretive dance. Holy shit, it worked. Oh my god, it went right through her? What the fuck? Alright, hey, by the way, Kojima's girlfriend, leg proof.
Yep.
You're not the man I thought.
Wow.
Man,
I'm just sitting here watching.
Fucking fragile is he that getting shot takes 1/10 of the damage that getting thrown to the ground does.
Well, he doesn't. He's very scared. He's very scared of his time on Earth, and when he sees the ground come up, he poop a little. He have a little poop come out.
Yes, nothing hurts harder than the ground. When you get thrown to the ground and your fucking world gets rocked, it sucks.
It sucks when you, like, in the handful of occasions I've actually been in a pretty tough fight with somebody, and they know how to, like, throw, you're in trouble.
Damage.
Emotional damage. Yeah, it is. It sure is.
Alright, when she stands up, we're gonna try and hanky her. Alright. It doesn't smell like chloroform to her.
It might.
What purpose does healing your wounds, like in the healing viewer, do? Because you've got that red bar and it's like, oh, that's how much health you just lost.
Right.
But when you heal it, it just makes that red bar go away. Like, it doesn't recover any of that health.
No, you need to eat the burgers. You need to eat the burgers in order for the health go up. You have to eat 12 tree frogs and a cabbage.
Yeah, see, that my life is still where it was. I get nothing for that. Gonna beat your ass, bitch. Oh, no.
There you go. Oh, nope, nope, nope. She's managed to take you to the floor again.
Yeah.
She may have too many nanomachines. That seems to be the other Kojima thing he likes, is you just use the word nanomachine to describe something, and it's suddenly sense, you know? It's like, why didn't this guy die? Nanomachines. How did all the guns get turned off at once? Nanomachines. How did the candles stop working? Nanomachines. It's like, what? Well, how would that... Because when someone says, like, all the guns stop working and this guy controls the nanomachines, I'm like, no.
Her gun being so powerful it can just randomly knock me over is also really fucking annoying. Because I have to fight really hard to catch up to her. And then it does that.
Well, it's kind of funny to see that these are the things you might miss at a game when you suddenly have to play it in slow motion. You suddenly see all the warts.
At 5-minute mark, we've knocked a quarter of her health off. We're not going to make this one.
Metal Gear Solid 5, even the guns have Wi-Fi.
Well, it's Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, that's right.
Am I just going to have to chase you? That's what we're doing? Because we're playing Keep Away?
Yeah, seems like. I love the music. It makes this kind of fun. Hey, this gun has a block that stops you from pulling the trigger. Yeah, Wild Red, give me a file in 5 seconds. It's like, that's not an issue. This is an analog product. It can be fixed. In fact, I could make a new gun without it in about a second. If I have an assembly line, it's like, hey, what's causing this to happen? It's handled. No, don't shit on the gameplay design. Remember, Kojima is a master at everything he does. He's a deep and meaningful game developer with a lot of incredible game design and many awards, many years of genius in the game world. And yeah, you know, good times. Yeah, hate.exe says, this feels like the end credits of a shitty B-action movie. Congratulations, it is.
So, this is the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, regardless of whether we actually beat her tonight or not.
Yeah, well, the limited frame rate is certainly making things a bit more complex, because you're literally having to interact with perfect frames now to get this to work.
Yeah.
And,
and the prompts to, for instance, counter her counters occur before the frame gets here. All right, we're at the 2-minute mark, and we are a third down on her health bar.
We're probably gonna die.
And I'm dying from 8 million gunshot wounds to the throat.
As you know, 5.56, not lethal.
Man, if only there was a way I could regain health without having to lay in a field for 8 fucking minutes.
Oh,
Since
don't worry.
This is a timed thing.
Well, you know, I mean, it's called Get Good. And I've never played the walking sim game. I've heard good things. I've heard people actually really enjoyed it. Not for anything related to the plot. Just they enjoyed.
Go off?
She can't see.
Okay. Well, now there's an interesting. Oh, Jesus Christ! This is getting worse. How is this getting worse?
What do you mean worse?
I mean, it's responding slower to my inputs when I'm able to even get them in. I may have
How
to.
the game was meant to be played.
I may have to go adjust some frame rate stuff because I think it running on unlimited is affecting how this is working. Have I?
Just seal that chest wound with a tree frog. Just keep throwing them stun grenades down. Ah. He has to reach up as he dies.
He does, yeah. Alright, so we are going to go to whatever commercial break I still have up. Oh, I want to change this. And we'll be back in like 5, guys, okay?
We've been no, I love hamster. We're still in a dream frame eater. Or Gilly Monster says she's been hammer-fisted and pumped full of 800 gallons of tranquilizers. I can't see! Yeah, I'd say that's the drugs catching up, lady. That'll happen.
We got her down to half health bar, which means I can do this.
You can do this.
I can do this. Alright, we're going to commercial break. We'll be right back.
On a spaceship and get it the fuck out.
That takes time.
I really don't think it does. You go like zoop, zoop, and then you've got like 2 grappling lines in the old Robo Dick box, and then it's just crotch first into the sky. I don't care if it's sleeping. If you grab it,
you really want to explain to the 10,000-year-old avatar of death why suddenly it has Jado strapped to its dongus?
I feel like someone has to. That's what the arm toilet paper is for.
Hey kids, do you like breakfast?
Yeah!
Well, you're gonna love self-heating maple bacon breakfast logs from Randy Checkers.
Cool!
That's right, kids. Just crack my log like a glow stick and watch the magic happen. Delicious breakfast perfectly heated in less than 30 seconds. Move over, Jimmy Dean. There's a new sausage chef in town, and his name, Randy Checkers.
Warning. Randy Checkers Maple Bacon Breakfast Logs contain substances known to cause cancer in the state of California and is part of a balanced breakfast.
Randy Checkers Maple Bacon Breakfast Logs! Hell yeah!
Where's the other half? Oh shit!
Whoa.
He's gone!
I must go. My people need me.
G-17 to Delta. Come in, Delta. G-17 to Delta. The Order of the Imperial Oath reports a subject levitating and speaking in tongues in their lobby. Delta, please respond. Delta, do you copy?
Hey, it's Quinn here. Sorry, Delta responding to G-17. You said a man is levitating and speaking in tongues in the lobby. Let me just. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that. Yeah. Oh god, that's really annoying. We're on our way.
Yep, that's correct. That's what they do.
God, he even runs like a fucking stripper.
How many strippers have you seen run, Deputy?
Oh, they're fast in heels, man. You gotta be careful.
Welcome to my theme park. Welcome to the park.
Oh God, why? Type of shitpost based Valhalla. An absurdist comedy club where all great shitposters exist. Where nothing is serious, where irony is the only language we speak. We go out into the world and we come back with new and greater extremities to dragging them in like a fresh kill so that we may show them to other shitposters. And at the end of each day, the material is wiped clean and anew. The world is remade in new and more absurd ways, and the only way we can cope with it is through greater acts of shitposting. And this shall be our eternity. There might even be a feast of beans, terrible mac and cheese, pizza abominations, fucking carbonated sodas made of spaghetti. You have no idea. This could be ours. This could be our fate, and you are but one step from realizing this opportunity for yourself. I'm so proud.
Flipping off the helmet. Yeah, fuck you, asshole. Fuck you guys.
Just start shooting.
Losers.
Absolute fucking losers. We should probably get some altitude. Yeah.
You really gotta let them know, you know? You gotta hang on. Yep. There it is.
Nope,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Did you disengage the autopilot?
No, I opened the window.
We are back. And let me, well, somebody asked a few questions, or a few people asked a few questions. Plans for any more VR? And as well, people want to know, a few people asking about Mundanus. And somebody said, what truck was that in the Mundanus startup? That's not a truck at all, actually.
No, so that is startup sounds from a Polish T-72 variant, which somebody gracefully recorded them trying to get it started after issues with the carburetor or injector, depending on the model.
Yeah, they're interesting engines. They run for fucking ever. They don't always run well, but they do typically run. They do run without all of their parts, to include the catalytic converter. They are interesting vehicles. They've been in production a long time. It's kind of interesting to think. I've had a few people asked if we could get the think tank together to do another podcast, and my boss is actually down to do it. And I know you joined us last time, and I know you probably wouldn't mind. A lot of questions on stuff like the history of tanks and things, because a lot of people have questions on stuff they've read perhaps and have said, hey, you know, I always read that this was true of XYZ, and we happen to know a few things about a few things.
We're not experts in any field, but
no, we know a few things of a few things, and it's one of those things. that I wanted to point out is even if you work for a think tank, you're not experts. There's no such thing. Experts are things you put on TV. They have a lower third under them, and it says expert after their name. That's a TV appellation. The rest of us are detectives. We dig and sort through what we can see, and we try to discern truth from bullshit. But if anyone ever raises a finger and says, I know the truth and the whole truth, so help me God, and I will convert you to it, and in the think tanky world of blowing stuff up, you'll know that person's full of shit pretty quickly.
I just realized we didn't save before the boss battle.
Cool.
So, to save you all that heartache, I'm going to go back to my previous save. So this should bring us right back into that boss battle. We can watch the cutscenes. I really don't give a shit if it records my second go-through on this. Because, frankly, I'm probably going to be uninstalling Metal Gear Solid 3 from this emulator after this. If I were a little bit richer, man, I'd just be doing this with a capture card and my actual PlayStation 3. I am not, so I didn't.
I understand. And that and the other issue with capture cards is they take a while to kind of figure out.
Yeah, they do.
I knew guys who had capture cards back in the day. Oh, cool. Look.
Oh, nope. All right.
Is this too far?
Yep.
We beat it.
Too far. We beat it.
God
damn it. Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we need to go back.
No, we got to go back. Fuck me.
We got to go back. Don't worry. It's a Kojima film. Every frame is perfection.
Okay, wait. No, there's one more. Maybe I can go back one more save.
Don't worry about it. Supreme.
It's just cutscenes from there to the completed Operation Snake Eater save. Why would...
I understand. Here's my question for chat. I was gonna ask, what is the correct ratio of cutscenes to game? Because Telltale Games tells me it's damn near everything, as does Kojima. So I'm just wondering what you guys think.
Well, he did until Metal Gear Solid 5 when he was like, fine, you guys don't like cutscenes, and he just forgot to give us any story.
Most of these people we didn't talk to a lot.
No.
Nope.
I can't.
We killed a lot more soldiers than that. You can't skip it.
This.
You can't skip this.
I can't skip this.
Dun, 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 dun,
no,
dun,
you did not. We all just missed the ending.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun 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 dun.
I have no input here. All right, we are not sitting through the cutscene. Okay, we're going to the technical break splash screen, and I'll be right back again.
All right.
All right, try number 3.
All right. So no more singing. Remember when we were playing Carrier Command and the whole game turned into concrete? you know,
I still had fun. We didn't see anybody else, but I still had fun.
No, that was the thing. It's like nobody knew that the game would die with that many people in it. Like time would freeze. But I remember like Diggs came back by and I was just sitting there singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home" because we were just stuck. I was just sitting there singing. He comes back in and I'm like, "Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed." And I'm just singing that same thing over and over again because I'm just stuck in that fucking boat bridge, staring at the same pixel that's like flicking back and forth as our plane's yo-yo from crashing to 3,000 feet altitude. It was insane.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So we take a bet that this is what we're after. Rakovaj Bereg. Somebody Google that and see what scene that is before I commit us to this.
Oh, right. Let's go ahead and type in the not Russian.
Mm-hmm.
See, if I read that on the side of a bottle, I would say that didn't come from Russia.
Yeah.
I would say that's like maybe
Put the
Turkish.
monkey on the screen. Let's see that monkey.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so it looks like that is the end. That's the boss battle. The
Is it?
Fatal Shore or Lake of Destiny.
Okay. Hell yeah, that's a name.
Because as you know, Fatal Shore is like, why? The Russians would be like, the beach. Like, I know my fair share of Russians. They'd be like, oh, you mean the beach? Over where we park the WIG aircraft? The WIG beach? The one where there's those kind of dead trees over there? And they'd be like, no, it's Fatal Shore.
No, oh, fuck. I expected a cutscene.
Nope. Here we go. Oh, wow. It's a little faster, maybe.
That does look a little bit faster, doesn't it?
It does look a little bit faster. Now, as we're seeing, this looks like people fighting in The Sims.
I like that I am so predictable. I'm wearing the exact same thing I was. So yeah, in the last game, here was my little antenna on
this. Oh yeah, in the last game, he was different, as you can see. He was different in the last game. In the last game, he was different.
Yeah.
He was different in the last game. See, he had an antenna rather than it sticking through his eye. He had an antenna.
So the stun grenade worked. Let's get rid of that claymore. The Sims make more sense. Yeah.
I love The Sims. The Sims is wonderful because in The Sims, you like one of my favorite things I do in The Sims was I recreated what it's like to be a modern content creator in The Sims, but I did it before content creation was a thing online. It was, well, at least a popular thing online. Back in the day, I was playing The Sims 1, back before YouTube and all that shit took off.
Oh, I've got a dose of life medicine. We're going to beat this woman's ass.
All right, there's a quote.
Do not fucking
context.
Quote that.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that I was playing The Sims and I recreated what it's like to be a content creator, which is I went in the back and I started writing. And my Sim started writing, and he started writing, and he started writing, and then the bill man came by, and everyone else came by, and he didn't have any friends because he spent so much time practicing writing, and they stole his TV and everything else, so all he could do was just walk around and mope. But then he released one book, and he barely got enough to feed himself and get some of his things back. But the problem was all the things he lost in order to get that first book out, like his friends and everything never came back. So he had to immediately launch into another book or starve. And over the course of 10 books, the guy became very wealthy, but he had no friend, and all he could do was weep and write. And I was like, what a sad person. But then I realized that, no, that's content creation.
Yeah, no, the antenna, the signal booster, it worked out really well in this game.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to fight this person. Oh, so Hamster says his first experience with The Sims was he made a sim that was terrified of fire. He made his first meal, he set himself on fire, then he needed a therapist. Relatable.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there, brother. It happens.
I remember that one time on The Sims that I had this guy come over, and all he did when he came over was make mac and cheese that nobody ate, and then he left.
Nice.
It was just some guy in the neighborhood. Like, he was just like, hey, you look like you could use some mac and cheese.
All right.
Mac and cheese.
I guess
All right,
that
so
wasn't in front of her that time.
Well, she can see because she chooses to.
He's not full of ketamine yet.
Yeah, she's not full of ketamine yet. She's not like, I can't see. I'm not sure what kind of tranquilizer they'd be using in the 60s, but it probably wouldn't be kind. It would probably be in the you are going to drool very badly category of medicine. All right, you gonna snipe this lady with the Mosin Nagant sleepy gun? That seems to have worked.
Yeah,
that seems to have worked pretty good. Like that made her go asleep. If you shoot someone in the face with a 30 caliber tranquilizer at 50 feet, it only bothers you slightly.
Only some of the time, yeah. The problem is doing this fucky roundy thing where you're trying to get to cover and wait for her to poke out of cover.
Well, that's fine.
We run out of time because the timer is real time, not frame rate.
I get you. And that's a Kojima challenge. That's a Kojima challenge. You know, he likes people to have an interesting time playing his games. And he felt that in the future, people would play this and go, it's a masterpiece. Shoot. There you go. Nothing like 30 cal right to the tits to make you calm down. Oh, she is mad. All right, that did not calm her down at all.
No, it also didn't do nearly as much as it did the first time.
Well, you did shoot the face.
Hit her in the face.
Well, the face is the softest of meats, as you know. Easy to remove.
Oh, come on.
Now, I'm just going to say this much. She acts a lot like a DMPC and just being able to dodge bullets and stuff. Like, she hears a bullet and moves out of the way.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
It really is. That's a skill set.
Being able to move faster than the bullet is moving and hear it before it gets there is not only breaking the laws of probability, but physics. But, you know, I mean, it's about these little things, I think. Also, a stun grenade in the 60s is probably not that different from a concussion grenade of the 60s.
No, it's not.
And by that, I mean it's academic.
Oh, no. She made a noise.
I think it's time to shoot this lady in the face.
Good Lord, I'm trying. Does this seem like it's moving faster? Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it really doesn't.
I bet if you looked straight down, it would run faster, just like EVE Online.
I'm certain that it does, because I've used that trick through this entire playthrough.
When I played EVE Online, I remember one of our fleet commands used to be time dilation, look away from the fight. And you would have 100 people in your fleet look away from the fight in order to better get a frame rate.
Oh, 5-minute mark, and we may do this.
I'm just saying, if we shoot this lady with a bunch of tranquilizers, there is no way in hell, after all this work, that I'm not finishing her off with a pickaxe or something.
Yeah.
Because this lady is impervious. Like, if you shoot anybody, as a Bond villain, whatever, if you shoot somebody and they just keep getting up, you have to finish them and you have to watch them die. You can't just volcano people and then be like, oh, it will lower you in, Mr. Bond. It will be no trouble. And you're like, no, use a gun. Then keep shooting.
Who the fuck
and
did
then
she
check
yell
their pulse.
grenade for?
Well, she's a highly trained soldier and the mother of Special Forces deputy. And as you know, when you're on a one-on-one fight, you need to scream things.
Yes!
Have a smoke! The I didn't hear no bell, boss.
Yep. Come on, this has to work at some point.
It will not. She's shooting at you. She can't. It just won't.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. God, we might pull this off. Nope.
We might.
We're like halfway through the song.
And I get it. I'm with you, Inryu. This is not a double tap situation. We need a wood chipper. This is somebody that you strap to a log and run through a bandsaw, and then flip the log and run it again. Like, nothing personal, but I would run this lady through a debarking machine just to make sure she was dead. Because she's like, I went to space and I shot a nuke and I'm fine. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm sorry, but this is too weird and I don't want to fight you again.
Come on, reload, reload. That's not how that works. Fuck,
As you
missed
know.
our chance. Oh, no, counter? Nope, didn't pull it off. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Get the fuck up,
She drinks,
get the fuck up.
she drinks chloroform as a martini. She has ketamine perfume. She's built up a tolerance to everything. She has the drug tolerance of Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
Shoot her in the eye with a gun. She still had a terrible surgeon. Again, I would be like, ma'am, I understand that you had, like, some horrible fucking trauma in your life. And I understand that, like, you went to space and all this other shit. But I'm just going to point this out. You have a terrible fucking surgeon, and you should have had that looked at.
No, 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 no. I need you to... Get up, get up, get up, get up. Come on. You can do it.
Yes, Crafty Canuck. She had a cesarean birth on the field. And as you know, cesarean sections start at the collarbone.
Yeah. Oh, just wait.
It's quite normal. It's quite normal when you have a cesarean section to start at above the nipple and the heart and then just zigzag down.
Is that it? Did we do it?
Did she just fall asleep?
Is it gonna make... hold on.
We're just gonna hang here for a minute while she has a nap.
Okay, we did it. I was worried.
All right, we teabagged the boss. We teabagged the boss. The boss has been teabagged. The Let's Play is done.
Well, I mean, this entire thing is rather Freudian. We had to consummate.
We had to teabag. We had to teabag the boss to become the boss, to teabag others.
Oh, yes. She's defenseless now, Snake.
I would shoot that out of her hand, and then I would put another 10 bullets in her face, and then I would walk away. Also, $6.9 victory. Nice.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do a Patriot build now.
No.
Yes.
No.
We're doing
okay.
semi-auto Fucking Palmetto State Arms Patriot. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, God, if you're going to PSA it, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. She wants us to finish her. Because, you know, this is a lot of ketamine in her body. Like, just a shit ton. Press F to pay respects, boys.
Press F to mag dump. Press F for Feuerstoß.
Oh no. The flowers, they've turned red. The prophecy is severed.
Oh no, someone shot the... who cares? Who cares? F for Feuerstoß.
Someone shot the main character.
Now, all we have to do is hope this prototype Soviet aircraft takes off and leaves the blast radius. That's all we have to hope.
Yeah. The horse can get fucked. It's dying to nuclear fire. Yeah, horse, I killed our metaphorical mom. What about it? I wonder what the horse tastes like. Oh.
I've heard horse is really good for meatballs. Source, French people. And again, like, as an older lady, she obviously had some work done, and congratulations on that, but they couldn't fix the scars. So I'm like, again, that's not a cesarean scar. That is like I had a monster inside me scar. That is like I don't know where the womb is, so I'm going to find it with a box cutter scar. It is really bad. It's below the competence of somebody with a screwdriver who's never seen human anatomy. Or as Kojima calls it, character building.
Ooh, audio
the scar. Oh, the scar was allegorical. It left. I get it. Thank you. Allegory.
Yeah.
It's rare to see allegories actually take physical form and move around. And Yuri, I am a bit jealous of the wig. It's rare that you see things get celebrated for being so spectacularly crap centuries after their relevance. And seeing something like a drawing out of Leonardo da Vinci's workshop with jet engines on it is really sad. And as far as aircraft and weapons go, they were an interesting idea. But like most of them, premature and certainly answering technical questions that weren't asked in the first place. I am very jealous of them because if I could work as little as the wig and get celebrated for it, I would probably be a better adjusted person. But I am not. And as well, you should probably fly planes with the door open. It won't set off any alarms. It's not loud or anything. And it's not like wind going by is distracting.
So remember, they're on this like little lake. Like there's maybe 100 feet of space left, right? Before the other shore.
Right. And then it crashes because there's no effect to be had. So it crashes horribly. And as you know, things close to the ground are not affected by airburst nuclear weapons. And look, as you know, you can yell over jet engines and wind noise. No problem.
I want you guys to try that sometime from like the tarmac, even with the plane off, from the tarmac. Yell at the pilot of a 747 and see if he responds.
Thank you, Cookie, for pie.
Yes.
As we all know, this makes complete sense. The Russian cowboy has to go full circle.
There goes the Patriot. along with all the other shit in that butt pack.
Yeah, I'd be like, in Rio, I'm with you. Hey, dumbass, there's a goddamn nuke coming. Could you wait 10 minutes?
You ever see those GIFs where it just is continuous loop, where, you know, the punch never lands or the car never hits the end of the runway or whatever?
Yep.
That's the scene, yeah. Every time we look, the shore is further away.
Oh, I know, but it's Kojima, which means the time is now to do this.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
So I do love the implication that Snake was wearing 2 pistol belts this entire time. Because he already dropped the one that had everything but his radio on it. And they just mirrored each other perfectly. They were like tied together or something.
All right, let's see. So you just need to have a slap fight in this aircraft that's about to have an accident next to a nuclear blast because the Russian cowboy wants to play do-si-do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because while we already had first climax of the story, it's time for second climax. After the third climax, which was the boss battle.
I have the same issue with the end of Lord of the Rings. The end of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, there's like 8 endings. And I just go, look, I'm not an expert director or filmmaker at all. But I know that they should have chosen one of those. Like, I've never read a book on filmmaking or seen an interview with any director who said, yes, but what about second ending? You gotta finish it at some point. You gotta.
Look at that. It's a standoff. We're still in the lake. Like, I guess we've just been doing circles.
Yeah, because you got an engine out.
I do appreciate that they showed, like, a band over the cartridge, but that was a 9-Mac cartridge. Like, what is it anchoring on?
So here's the thing. If that was a 357 Magnum, .380 could possibly bite into .361.
These are 45 long Colt, because we get one in the game.
I understand. I said if they are 357 Magnum. However, this is not. So while I say, yeah, it's technically possible, you'd have to, like, take the cylinder out and then cut moon clips for it, which, God, why? But, I mean, you would have to remove the cylinder, put the moon clips and the cartridges in. It would be like a nightmare. And so, again, like, while he was doing this, I would just proceed to beat about half of his memory out of his head. While he was doing all that, I would just beat him senseless. No. Thank you, Mr. Train.
Not that name. You're not a snake, and I'm not an ocelot.
You meow like a cat. Like, you're 80% furry at least.
My name isn't Emska.
That's not Russian.
That's not a real name.
Very well, John. Plain name.
That's not a real name at all.
We're men
Plain
with
name.
names. Wow, nothing gets past you, Ocelot.
Wow. It's almost like you should have a name tag on that uniform.
What was it? I chose the left or the right revolver. That's what that was.
You know, yeah, we're just gonna do this. We're gonna have
still
this. There's a
circling
nuke.
the lake.
There's a nuke coming. Remember, great writer. Great and fantastic writer. As you know, great writer. And as we know, this is just how things go. This is just, this is Kojima showing us his greatness in writing, pacing, and storytelling. Writer, director, producer. This is his genius. This is how you end a game.
4, 5, 6. It will sit there and wait for you to click all 6. So I just did them really fast. Choose the left one. It's the one with the blank in it. Surprise! It looked like a real bullet, but it's a blank. Sorry, I ruined it.
Oh wow! It's an actual bullet that's a blank somehow. Joke's on you, it's a blank. Joke's on you, it's a crimped bullet.
It's a blank.
It's a blank. Like, the only thing he could have done to undermine his character more at this sequence is if he had said, it's a blank, taken out a clown, like a clown horn, honked it twice, and then jumped out of the airplane. That is the only thing he could do.
Don't speak too soon.
Instead, he just did what he did and jumped out of the airplane at speed. But the only thing he could have done that would have undermined it more was the clown honk. Like if he'd been like, it's a blank, honk, honk, and then just jumped out. That would have been fine.
Because, yeah, more elevator control, more rudder control. That's what you need in this very moment. You know, if, like, his hovercraft had gotten stuck in the rudder, then I could see it. But we're fighting the issue that this thing is so overloaded that with one engine out, empty, it is overweight. It is that poorly designed.
That's fairly realistic. That's fairly realistic to how shit these things were. However, instead, what would happen is you would pull back on that stick, and it would appear to be climbing, and then it would hit the mountain.
Yeah, because
it could not go over it. Yeah, it would just hit the mountain. It would just hit the mountain. It would just be like, we made it! Game over.
Ah, good old horse, waiting for nuclear end. It's really hard for a horse to neigh with a bit in its mouth.
It's also really hard for a horse to just start, walking around in a nuclear blast. But, I mean, that's symbolism. Yes, we do. We are a bunch of grade A morons.
Hey, we're back. You guys have missed riveting cutscenes. They think they're about to die by MiGs.
Yeah, don't worry. As we know, that the most dangerous air-to-air weapon that the MiGs have are rockets.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the Soviet copy of the Zuni. Well, no, those aren't even that. That's a fucking hind pod.
Yeah, and then under it they've got nukes, and it's like, okay.
Don't do it. You're gonna get like 30 hours of blood and snake pieces and green camo face paint on your face if you do that.
Don't worry about it. It's Snake Eater.
Well done, Snake. The MiG's disengaged.
Thank you, ambiguously British person.
Is this his way of helping us? Who knows? Maybe he didn't want things to get messier than they already are.
It's ambiguously British person. Everyone's favorite friend.
He's the bad guy of the entire series. But in this game, he's an affable James Bond fan.
Which is weird, because James Bond is still relatively new and not exactly mainstream.
Because love can bloom on a battlefield. You are correct. In fact, we're going to revisit that in the next game several times. Otacon is always pathetic, regardless of which one it is. No, don't save.
I wouldn't worry about saving, because we'll never be back. Until they remaster it, then we'll be back.
Maybe he knew Ian Fleming. He could have.
Ian Fleming was an interesting guy. He mostly wrote about his cousin, though.
You know,
who was an
planes
actor.
fly far better when the fucking door is closed. Well, that one's missing entirely.
Yeah, you don't need a door to go to Alaska in a damaged aircraft that flies at 8 feet.
Pistol wants to know if that was an actual aircraft they were flying.
Unfortunately, it was.
Mm-hmm. I want to say they made 1 or 2. They were not very good. Yeah, there we go. Bartini Beriev VVA 14.
Indeed. You can go find a picture of the civilian version that has the Aeroflot stuff on it. And it's just... It's not good. It does not look gentle landing or taking off. It's a thing. It's jets and it sits in the water.
Does he not have any other clothes? Does she not? Like, where are they? She's still wearing American flight clothes.
Listen, as we all know, when we get home and take our work clothes off, we stay in them for days. The whole weekend, work clothes sprayed on us. No dressing, no cleaning. She had a horrible stomach wound not 24 hours ago. Time to fuck. You know how it is. Go Kojima. Girls like being on top after being stabbed through the stomach. What the fuck? He has a horrible eye wound. It is probably starting to smell. What happened to all of the arrows in him?
They broke him off and left the hilt. Oh, somebody's
probably...
trying to call him. So that radio model's an Air Force survival radio with like a mile maybe radius.
And as we know, throwing that in the fire is really funny. She's a spy. I wonder what the motivation for her traitor would be. She wouldn't be billions of unmarked dollars, would it? Sorry, trillions, because that existed in the 60s.
Yeah, trillions. Enough to fight World War II 5 times over.
You know what we should do? We should spend that on a really shitty robot.
I see. The eye patch stays on during sex. I get it.
Yeah.
Do you think he has, like, fun ones that he can swap out? Like, one with a googly eye?
I'm sure he's got a few eyes just laying around. He's like, let me put in the goofy eye.
Exactly. Like, if I had one eye, I would absolutely have a googly eye that I could either put on the eye patch itself or, like, build it into a false eye.
Eye patch stays on during sex. And that's a Professor Tex quote.
An eye on a spring, have it set up like a Joker Jack-in-the-Box.
The only thing that could make this more weird is if Snake read that and sang all of Kenny Rogers the Gambler.
I think she drugged him. His pants are still on. Yeah.
What if when he ran that tape through and hit play, it was Louie Louie by the Kingsmen? Beam, boom, 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 boom. Just Louie. When did she record this?
I guess after she drugged him.
I'm not a KGB spy, and I never worked for the NSA. I'm an agent of China for the General HQ, Second Department of the People's Liberation Army. It was all a lie.
You know what would be funny is just to send this tape in to the People's Republic of China, and then she would die.
Yeah.
Like, all he'd have to do is play this and be like, hey, your agent outed themselves, and there would be no hole deep enough.
Ah, yeah, the triumph. Because she's a super motorcycle babe.
Everybody I know who has a Triumph has told me that they don't run well, but they run real good when they run.
Everybody I know that is into classic bikes like that doesn't go anywhere because they own a classic bike and they're always working on it.
I knew a guy who had a Triumph, and that thing would roll, but it took him about an hour to get it started. Once you started it, though, it was fine. That lady lied to me before coming after my anaconda.
She was after Snake.
That's just professionalism. Like, she should have just started with that.
She couldn't get his trousers off. They were welded on with bat corpse blood and 5.56 casings.
They were also pinned in with buckshot and knives. Again, I think that this song, instead of her saying any of this, I would have loved if Jake the Snake, yeah, brother, he just sits there and smokes a cigar to What Condition Your Condition Is In, as it fades out, and then it says Snake died in Vietnam. Snake died 3 years later as an advisor in Southeast Asia. That would have been my ending. Ah, Sunshine Temple. Triumph, when you want to start your motorbike over an hour like a steam engine.
Well, you'll notice she hasn't started it yet. Oh, there we go. It happened off screen.
Well, yeah, someone else walked up with another bike that was already running and put it in their hands. That's how that works. Yeah, and you're right, the deranged one. The exposition she shouldn't be giving just keeps going.
Oh, it is a gift that keeps giving. All of
everybody
the powers
out
at
there
war trained me to sneak through. All of the powers that trained me.
So let me say this much. If you are out there as a writer, all you have to do is not this, and you'll be all right. If you took this and removed 90% of the nonsense from it, it'd be a pretty good Bond movie. Then you add the nonsense in it and it becomes Kojima's masterpiece. And I'll say this, of all the Kojima games, this one's probably the best. Probably. And you know what's really fun is when someone sits there with a Makarov and then just really, really soft loads that first round in there. That's never caused a problem like earlier in this show, has it?
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's the second radio you've burned in there? They're all going to die of the smoke.
You are going to absolutely get a letter from whoever owns this cabin as a rental. They'd be like, you burned 2 radios in that fireplace. First of all, that was a gas fireplace.
If I were about to ride around in sunny Galena Air Base, Alaska, and I had goggles sitting on my chest, I also would open up my aviators out of the case to put them on and ignore the goggles.
Do you think that wouldn't she have some hilarious, like, tans? Because she's wearing goggles over the titties. So, I mean, as the sun hits it, she'd get, like, 2 parabolic burns on her junk. And I'm like,
well, she's
why?
got skin cancer and a V from her crotch up across both shoulders because she's never zipped that jumpsuit up.
That's what I mean is it would be like a trucker tan, wouldn't it? She'd end up with a permanent skin cancer V from walking around with that open. They'd be like, wow, you have all your skin cancer in this triangle zone on your midriff and chest. And she's like, I was really big into jumpsuits in the 60s.
Only 4 stacks in your fucking SOG? Alright.
Every SOG guy I've ever met has more scrambled eggs and shit shotgunned into his chest. You're like, I didn't know that was a medal you could get. And they're like, yeah, it's for stabbing birds with a bird.
I forgot that Sigint is wearing woodland camo that wouldn't be invented for another 20 years.
It's fine. They've got LBJ.
Uh-huh.
I know some facts about LBJ. Do you know what his favorite drink was? He asked you to fill the whiskey up. Like, whiskey, fill up his glass to the top. And if you didn't, when you poured him a whiskey, he'd just pour it out on the floor while looking at you and ask for another. He also used to take his dick out, like, and just say, like, have you ever seen anything as big? He used to do that. There are multiple witnesses to it. Definitely a Kojima president.
Yeah. He also would pull the stunt with the amphibicar.
Yeah, he would drive around in the amphibious car and then just drive off the road into the lake and people would start screaming and he'd just laugh. He was a president.
He'd pretend the brakes were out until it hit the water and floated.
Yep. He would act like his car didn't work and be like, oh shit, we're gonna die, and then drive into the river.
I've never touched Death Stranding, but
that is a very large
radar.
metal. Also, that metal is very large.
It's like a 125% DSC.
That's what I mean. Like, does he get the Turbo Distinguished Service Cross? I'm just saying. Also, if that's supposed to be McNamara,
it is.
That's not a Yeah. So here's the issue. McNamara was not a guy who thought like that.
No.
And as a historian, I'm going to say if McNamara showed up and was like, "Hey, I have an idea for a secret unit," they'd be like, "Hey, weren't you the guy that sold the Edsel?" And then he would go in the corner and cry. His other achievements, other than the Edsel, was losing Vietnam. But mainly the Edsel. That's what I'm going to ring him for.
Yeah, the man who famously said our strategy in Vietnam is that we have no strategy. And it's a
Smart
good thing.
guy.
He thought that was a good thing.
Also the Edsel.
What I just noticed for the first time, having played this game probably a dozen times now to completion, is that Siggin's hat says U.S. Team Fox. So they are a super special secret team that nobody's supposed to know about, but they got hats embroidered.
That would be like people walking around with like secret program coffee mugs, where it's like Operation Kill Bin Laden, just says that on the side of the mug, and you're walking around going like, what's that about? And it's like, don't worry about it.
It's
not
you're
like there's
walking
any
around with that before he's killed.
It's not only that. Walking around at the White House where there are no cameras.
Yeah.
Ever. There's never cameras watching who comes and goes from the White House and taking pictures of it. Especially not in the Cold War. That was crazy.
Why would you shoot? Who would know? Snake, this is a boss on the radio. Tell them you killed me. And then she offs herself. That could have been the end of it.
Yeah. And as Gilly Monster says, why use Heinz to transport something heavy? It's not like the Soviet Union didn't build giant fuck-off cargo helicopters specifically for that purpose. MI6, MI26, MI8.
Oh, yes,
I mean, come on.
McNamara. Yes.
McNamara was a bad guy.
He was a
as
terrible
far
man.
as far as like strategy goes in the strategy world, you look at his doings and you're like, Jesus. it makes you feel better in what you do. Is like a strategist in anything. Like there is nothing that you could do in a 4X game that is less competent than something McNamara actually completed. Again, the Edsel was the high point of his life.
I believe this is supposed to be Arlington, but everybody knows there's a lot of variation in tombstone size at Arlington.
At Arlington, it's just kind of, you know, whatever you get. It's a very foggy place. Very foggy all the time. Very scattered trees. Kind of weird. Yeah, Manhattan Project t-shirts, you know. All I did was go to New Mexico and got a stupid bomb. Like, people are like, what does that shirt mean? You'll see.
Yeah, I was at Trinity Ground Zero and all I got was this tan.
Yeah. Ask me about my tan. Hashtag Team Trinity. I love how they don't know her year. 1920X. Just guess. They're like, we don't want to say she was 40 because Kojima's afraid of old women. He's afraid of women who are middle-aged. They terrify him. It's almost, again, like mother issues.
Yeah.
No, she has to be forever under 40. I have to hide that somehow. No one's gonna appreciate my waifu.
You know, I've actually heard that Oak Ridge has an excellent gift shop. That they sell Trinitite and shit.
Why not? It's Oak Ridge.
Flash is supposed to go above the eye. Snake. That's the German style.
He forgot who he's saluting.
Well, they can't see her.
You know what's really funny is even as much as he does this, you know, Kojima didn't point out that, like, Khrushchev was ousted from power, but it was a continuation of the power transfer of the brief interregnum under Beria. And, I mean, anyways. Oh, cool. Paramedic established the first paramedic system.
Yeah, and then she went off the rails and it got into genetic engineering and created, the clones. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
As we all know, U.S. military projects love using French.
Yeah.
All the time.
Les enfants terribles.
Les enfants terribles.
Well, no, anytime I give Psyduck shit. This is much faster. Okay. That's not what I was expecting. Ooh, buttery smooth.
Also, that song is stuck in my head now.
I like how it just cut it off. It didn't even, like, fade out.
Who cares? Fuck them.
I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves.
Yes, the CIA. I'm surprised he didn't call it Kia, based on how he's been pronouncing everything. Do you think it's going to be FSB for the FSB or KGB for the KGB? You know, because he went GRU with GRU.
The American president is relying on
What is the NRO? NRA? What about geospatial intelligence? Like, what is he going to do? Just very sophisticated.
Yes, Chief Director, of course. I'll keep the KGB informed.
From the same phone.
You know what I think would have made that final fight better? What about Bachman Turner Overdrive's taking care of business?
What?
No, I mean like the final thing. Don't listen to the plot. Don't do that. Don't. I'm just saying Bachman Turner Overdrive's taking care of business would be the best ending track to this as Snake just flies into a helicopter in Vietnam. Come on. Taking care of business as Snake smiles and jumps off the skids of a Huey. Again, how many endings do you need?
Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right. Groznygrad has been obliterated.
I would love to work at nothing all day. Huey gunship coming in, Snake running through, one final mission of just going crazy and shooting stuff. And at the very end, Snake goes, well, it's good to know what you're good at. Taking care of business turns up. Fade to black. That's my ending.
Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it.
Yeah, Laughing Man says, this isn't an ending. This is just leftover voice acting.
Yeah.
And how many times can Kojima get his name in the credits? I don't know. If this game was made in Hollywood, they would stop him because the guild would go, that's too much.
Yeah, he made sure to stamp it on every single mission in 5, so this was clearly not enough.
No, man. It's important to know why you do things.
Mr.
And stamping
Blue Sky,
your name on
Electric
stuff.
Light Orchestra, that's another good one.
That's a good one.
Oh yes, nobody knew, including my allies, that I was the American spy this entire time.
As you know, the GRU doesn't do background checks.
They also don't tap the phones of their operatives, because he just spoke to Brezhnev, I think, and the director of the CIA.
Wow, our title is Jaws.
We killed 549 people.
God, it's like, this looks like my aftermath of playing Payday.
36 life bars worth of damage.
So in 26 hours, Snake eats 122 meals. That's a lot of pooping. That's a lot of pooping.
Oh, good lord.
In 26 hours, he eats 122 meals.
Seriously injured 125 times. Gave myself away to the enemy 113.
I'm just going to say this. You killed 549 people. So, I mean, yeah, I get why this guy's a legend. He can make up whatever story he wants.
That's an entire infantry battalion.
And that's what I mean. Like Snake, neck snapper Pliskin here, just walking around kicking the shit out of people. Man.
Yeah,
well, we did our job.
That is a legacy. So yeah, we're gonna figure out why is the plane overloaded? Snake ate 122 meals and never shat.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Good old Snake.
Yeah, so we'll be back with Madness Monday next Monday, and 2 weeks from now we'll be jumping into another Metal Gear game. I'm not sure which.
I don't know, man. It's got to be 4 or 5 unless you want to do the half games or you want to try to get ops or anything else working.
Well, that's what I was wondering, is whether we wanted to try to fuck around with... I don't think ops will work because that was all online. But I think we can get the weird Invade Costa Rica one. That was a half game.
That one where there's like a peninsula in Costa Rica for no reason.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's like chock full of like commies or commie agents or something that have just built a base in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace Walker. Thank you, Marco. Peace Walker. Yes. We could go be the peace in that disarmed nation.
We're very, very good at peaceful. Peaceful
people. We'll probably just do 4. That is also part of this remastered trilogy that is emulated, and good God, I don't know if I can do this again with another game. 4 is going to be rough anyway.
We'll do our best. And look, I think if people understand if we just jump to 5 or whatever, it'll be fine. I mean, we'll do what we got to do.
Why do you not use special item? I don't think I ever found it. Or no, special item, yeah. Something happened. I don't know.
We did our job. That's all that's important.
It is. Yeah, I've never touched Peace Walker, so I have no idea. I know broadly what it's about just through osmosis from the other games.
Well, it shouldn't be that hard. We're experts. I mean, we beat this, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, this is the rest of my night, is I'm going to switch over to the settings I need to try and make 4 run. And we're just going to keep fucking with that until we get it to go.
That sounds horrifying. Jesus. All right, well, I'm down. We'll see.
Yep. All right, we're going to get out of here. You guys have an excellent evening. A little bit shorter one tonight.
And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for taking care. And remember, Quish will be up later, and much more madness on the way soon.
Oh, yeah. Cooking on the rim.
Cooking on the rim.
All right. Night, guys.
Night. Is everyone happy after some technical difficulties?
Speaking of technical difficulties, the controller's not working again.